Let's go to the lawyers. Susan Moss, family law attorney, joining us from New York. Mike Gottlieb joining us from Miami. And Dwane Cates tonight from Los Angeles. Susan Moss, what is so good about Ariel Castro that he should just coast on into prison, not have to face a jury, not have to face his accusers? It just seems too easy.
The only deal should be what's for his last meal. These victims, these survivors deserve their day in court to look at the man who terrorized them for 10 years and to explain to the world exactly what happened to them. They believe and they deserve their opportunity to say to the jury or to say to the judge, you've got to make this guy pay to the fullest extent of the law, and in this case, with his life.
And Mike, why shouldn't he have to listen to every single thing he did to these women? Do you realize that when one would try to escape, he would take a vacuum cleaner cord and put it around their neck so they couldn't get out?
Well, there's no doubt that the allegations against him are heinous, but I think you have to take into consideration, and we've all seen the YouTube videos of the victims where they're saying they want their anonymity. You have to imagine that there's a component to this case where the prosecution spoken to the victims, and perhaps the victims have said, look, we prefer a life sentence over a death sentence if it means we're not going to be exposed, we're not going to be on TV, we don't have to tell our story to the world, we don't have to go through all the gruesome details and things that happened to us, and we prefer life in prison. We'd rather see him suffer each and every day for the rest of his life. That, to some people, is worse than the death penalty.
And, you know, we are going to talk with a very close family friend in just a minute to one of these girls. But you talked about that YouTube video. Let's look at the courage of these young women who did come forward after gaining their freedom.
First and foremost, I want everyone to know how happy I am to be home with my family and my friends. It's been unbelievable. I want to thank everyone who has helped me and my family through this entire ordeal. Everyone who has been there to support us. It's been a blessing to have such an outpouring of love and kindness. I'm getting stronger each day, and having my privacy has helped immensely. I ask that everyone continues to respect our privacy and give us time to have a normal life.
Thank you, everyone, for your love, support, and donations, which helped me build a brand new life. I just want everyone to know I'm doing just fine. I may have been through hell and back, but I am strong enough to walk through hell with a smile on my face and with my head held high and my feet firmly on the ground. Walking hand in hand with my best friend, I will not let the situation define who I am. I will define the situation. I don't want to be consumed by hatred. With that being said, we need to take a leap of faith and know that God is in control.
I would say thank you for the support.
I'd like to thank everybody who donated to the Courage Fund for these girls, and everybody that donated. I also like to thank the family for having so much passion and faith and the strength to go along with us.
And you have been watching video from YouTube of the 3 courageous survivors in this case. Dwane Cates, back to you out in Los Angeles. You know, we have gotten word that a plea deal may be in the works almost to completion, so Ariel Castro does not have to go to trial. He's bargaining away the death penalty. That's what he's doing, Dwane Cates. He doesn't want to die, so he's going to cap a plea deal.
Gene, the death penalty is not even on the table right now. The prosecution hasn't filed a notice of death penalty. They're not asking for the death penalty.
And that is because,
so
Dwane Cates,
they've not even started down that road.
The defense went to the prosecution early on and asked them not to. This is not something that just came up. It's been working for a while. That's the reason they haven't. But that's not fair. That's not fair. And I learned in law school, you don't bargain away the death penalty. It's too sacred of a thing to bargain away. But people do it every day.
They do it all the time, Gene. And I'll tell you what, a death penalty is a stretch in this case. proving those murders, that they were aggravated murders, is going to be extremely difficult. There's no real evidence left that they were there. They would have a tough time getting the death penalty anyway. Castro's going to prison for the rest of his life, no matter what happens in this case, and I don't think they should drag the victims through a trial, make them relive this entire thing, and have this blown up. I mean, you know it's going to be big. You know it's going to be covered by everybody, and it's going to be very public. And this is the right outcome on this case.
But this is Cleveland's trial. This is their community. Their community lived with 3 missing girls for a decade. They turned out alive. Doesn't the community deserve something? I want to go to Dr. Bill Mannion, New Jersey medical examiner. You know, Dwane Cates brought up something. There are 2 counts of aggravated murder. One of these 3 girls was pregnant. The allegation is that she was punched and that she also suffered other types of physical abuse to lose that child. Is there any forensic way at this point to determine that she had been pregnant?
Well, not really. Only if the fetus was buried in the backyard somewhere. If they could discover the decomposed fetus, they might be able to do some DNA testing to show that his DNA contributed. But otherwise, there's no forensic evidence that can be done now. And the OB-GYN exam may show that she had a child, that her cervix has evidence of delivering a stillborn or an infant. But we would need DNA evidence from the fetus to really show it was his child and that it really existed.
You know, Dwane Cates, I want to take you back a few years to the Anthony Sowell case. We covered this on Nancy Grace for so many nights. Anthony Sowell, Cleveland, Ohio. All of a sudden, bodies were found in his home. They were found in his basement. They were found outside. 11 bodies altogether. Guess what? He got the death penalty, Anthony Sowell. So what makes Ariel Castro so much better that he shouldn't have to get the death penalty?
Well, it was discussed earlier, Gene. They didn't find any bodies. They don't have any proof of these capital murders. They could spend all this money, spend all this time, have a huge media circus, and then not get the death penalty anyway.
But Susan Moss,
they're doing the right thing.
Susan Moss, because these girls lived, then he benefits from that?
Are you kidding me? You don't think they're going to be able to prove aggravated circumstances when you have 4 witnesses that are going to be so believable, their stories are going to be told with motion, and they're going to be believable, certainly more than this guy who's never going to take the stand. Each of those witnesses will stand up there and they will say that they got punched, that they were starved when they were pregnant, that they gave birth to miscarriage of children. They are going to be able to prove each and every count, because you've got 4 witnesses who are going to go step by step and explain what happened for those 10 years. And when any jury who are human hears the trauma of each of these 4 ladies and this one little girl, you gotta be kidding me. There will be a guilty verdict. And if you don't think so,
there's
then
no
you're
way. They can't
not a very good
prove
defense lawyer.
Aggravated murders.
Of course
they can't prove
will.
them. There's no bodies. They can't
punching,
prove that there were pregnancies.
You don't need a body to prove murder. Are you kidding me? How many convictions
can they
in this
even
world
prove that these
have there
girls were
been
pregnant?
when there is not? You want to? That's what she's gonna testify to. She's gonna testify that a child was miscarriage. She's gonna testify that she gave birth to a stillborn. This is what's gonna come out of these very believable women's mouths. And if you don't think a jury is gonna be moved by this, then I got a bridge to sell.
All right, and that is called eyewitness testimony, and it can be powerful. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back after this.